Already?
Yeah. Sir.
Call the July 13th meeting to order. Moment of silent meditation. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jeff, could you read the mission statement?
Yes, our mission is to guide students to become informed, engaged citizens, and curious lifelong learners.
And we have no public participation, so cheers, Mr. Street.
Very good. You've been presented the minutes of the June 8th, 2026 board meeting and executive session. We ask for your approval.
So
Second.
Jeff, Jill, all in favor? 6-0.
You've also been given the corporation claims and payroll in the amount listed. We ask for your approval.
move.
Second. Bill, Dan, all in favor? 6-0.
Few report items. We'd like to congratulate Luke Zander for advancing to the state finals and tying the KV alum Jesse Stamper as the all-time leader in the low score for 18 holes, the career average for boys golf. Also, congratulations to the KV Cougars girls softball players who earned Northwest Crossroads All-Conference honors. So congratulations to them. Also, you've received a few weeks ago several Neola recommendations for new policies, changes, and revisions to board policy. So we will consider this our first reading. Any comments or questions about those? Several of those items there. Moving on to employment action items. We ask that you accept the retirements as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Jill, Jeff, all in favor? 6-0.
Under resignations, we ask that you accept the resignations that were sent to us.
So move.
Second. Bill, Dan, all in favor? 6-0.
Under extracurricular, we ask that you approve the ECA recommendations.
So move. Second.
Jeff, was that Bill or Dan? Bill, all in favor? 6-0.
Under employment, we'll take two separate votes. Under certified, we'd recommend the approval of the certified recommendations.
So move.
Second. Jeff, Dan, all in favor? 6-0.
Separate vote, we'd recommend Stacy Walther as a DeBont Elementary School second grade long-term substitute.
So moved. Second.
Jill, Christie, all in favor? 5-0-1. Bill, right?
Under classified, we'd recommend your approval for the classified recommendation.
So move.
Second.
Bill, Jill, all in favor? 6-0.
And we ask for your approval on the transfer request.
So move.
Second. Jeff, Dan, all in favor? 6-0.
Under new items, many of these items have been discussed previously, and you've also had an opportunity to review several of these items. Under A, we'd recommend not to continue Valley Online.
So move. Second.
Bill, Jeff, all in favor? 6-0.
We'd recommend the 2026-27 student handbook revisions for the 5 schools and the middle school, high school athletic handbooks be approved.
So move.
Second. Bill, Dan, all in favor? 6-0.
We'd ask for your approval that DFA Dairy Brands be named as the KV Dairy Milk vendor for the 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Jill, Jeff, all in favor? 6-0.
We'd ask for your approval that Alpha Baking Company be named as the KV Bakery vendor for the 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Jeff, Jill, all in favor? 6-0.
Under E, we'd recommend that Mr. Ryan Myers be named Kankakee Valley School Corporation Safety Specialist for the 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Jill, Bill, all in favor? 6-0.
We recommend your approval for the changes to the school corporation's responsible use policy to comply with recently passed legislation.
So moved. Second.
And Jeff, all in favor? 6-0.
We'd recommend your approval of purchase of 500 light fixtures from City Electric Supply for the high school.
So moved. Second.
And Bill, all in favor? 6-0.
Recommend your approval that Precision Controls replace the masonry chimney for the water heater at the high school.
So moved.
Second.
Jeff, Jill, all in favor? 6-0.
And then we ask for your approval that the 401A and 403B plans be approved as attached. Just a reminder, this was first requested by the KVTA last school year. This has been a process for approximately 10 months now, give or take. So we ask for your approval.
So moved.
Second.
Jill, Jeff, all in favor? 6-0.
And the field trips, but we do have several use of school facilities listed. We ask that for your approval on the school facilities request as listed.
So moved. Second.
Jeff, Bill, all in favor? 6-0.
Those are all the items that we have for our regular school board meeting before our work session.
Motion for adjournment?
So moved. Second.
Jeff, Bill, all in favor? 6-0. 6:09.
609. Okay. We're ready to start the work session?
Yep.
Good. We have no public participation or comments
no.
presented to us. At this time, Don Puckett has elementary survey results about Biding their school. So
Happy to
So-
be back here with you. Thank you for giving administrative assistant the opportunity to work with you over the course of the last year. When you started this process to even consider, the configuration of your elementary schools, you wisely took the first step of collecting information. And the first step began with us, and we did the facilities review, which I know you've all seen those results, but if it's okay, we're gonna kind of look back through that again, just as a refresher before we get to this phase 2, which was the survey collection from stakeholders. The first thing we looked at, according to the research, says you're supposed to look at 5 areas of whether or not your school system fits a reconfiguration process well. So the first thing we looked at was demographics. We'll just kind of go through this stuff quickly. We know that your county has an aging population. While the population is holding steady, the group that's making up the bigger component is an older group now, which typically means fewer students coming from that population anyway. Your enrollment has declined some in your school district since 2018. And we know that we have a certain segment of your community that is not attending the public schools. Currently, you have 84% who are. And looking at facilities, we know that DeMott, your elementary with the largest population, needs more space for their current enrollment and configuration, right? And the class sizes that they're using right now, to be able to offer all of the support and efficient and equitable access to facilities. So currently that's a concern, but when we look at your other elementaries, Wheatfield kind of has the opposite problem. Much lower population where they're located, and they have a significant number of classrooms that are not being used as classrooms. They found ways to use them in meaningful ways, but they are not being used for classrooms or even in supported instructional environments right now. And the same thing is kind of true at the intermediate building. They have a lot of space that they don't have to use right now for general education or supported instructional space. They actually have as many as 11 available classrooms if things were reorganized. So that at this point, we know that if we were to redistribute your population so that you had more balanced populations in those 3 by creating K-5 buildings, that would definitely allow for better utilization of space. You wouldn't have empty classrooms, and you wouldn't have the overcrowding and problems that you have at DeMont. If you were to consider reconfiguring, we know that those 3 are all elementary buildings, which means that reconfiguring to K-5 instead of K-3 or 4-5 reduces the challenges there because you are elementaries, but there certainly would have to be a few changes. For example, the intermediate school probably would need some sort of structural changes for the restrooms in particular, and possibly different ways to accommodate the primary students. That in many cases is as simple as relocating equipment. You have the equipment that you need, you have furniture, you have all the materials. It's just going to be a question of moving them around to make them accessible in the right spots in those cases. Secondly, we looked at staffing. In your elementary classrooms, the general ed classrooms, your teacher and student ratio is 19, just over 19 students per teacher. In the state of Indiana, the average is 21. So we know that we are below the state average, which is considered to be, in compared to other states in the nation, a pretty ideal number that 21 is. So we know that Currently, we have a lot of smaller classrooms, I guess we would say. If you're looking at the extension of your staffing, not just your certified staff, but your paraprofessionals, we have 77 and a half paraprofessionals for those 1,300 students. And that is exceptionally high ratio. And compared to the state of Indiana, it's basically 5 times, it's about 15 to 1 in the state, throughout the state of Indiana. And so ours is much, much higher than the others, which I'm sure is considered a blessing in many ways, or a luxury, but it also tends to create some fiscal challenges possibly. So we know that when we look at staffing, we have more than enough staff if we wanted to reconfigure. It would just be a question of refocusing the location and the timing of the services that they provide, reassigning them to new locations so that everybody, has the coverage that they need. And quite honestly, it's probably would be an ideal opportunity for you to try to optimize your budgetary resources, potentially by looking at the excessive amount that you have. In curriculum, you guys are just top notch in that area. Your curriculum and instructional practices are fully aligned already in grades K-5. Use your PLCs for that. You have curriculum maps, power assessment, power standards, common assessments. I misspoke there. And those are all in place. If you were to reconfigure, you're at an advantage because those are already all in place. So all of those, we consider those to be best practices, and they're going to hold up if you reconfigure to support your instructional and academic performance. We know that the research says when you have a transition, when kids have to change buildings, at grade levels, most school districts have 3 transitions. We currently have 4. These are the areas that they say are concerning, that might cause problems for kids. Their student achievement, their social emotional well-being, relationships, behavior, and continuity of instruction. Continuity of instruction, we know, is pretty well built by our current curriculum processes that you already have in place. Behavior, relationships, social, emotional well-being, much, much harder to assess and quantify, right? So you can look at those anecdotally to make those decisions. But what we do know is we can look specifically at student achievement and see if your current transition in the elementary creates a problem there. Just real quickly, let's go back through these. iRead results are strong, always above the state average and in the 90s. That tells us that your literacy program is really strong, doing its job. We don't see a problem when we go from 3rd to 4th grade in the test scores. But when we go look at, I learn in English and in math as well, we'll see over the next couple of slides, we have a drop off from 4th to 5th grade. While we can't clearly assess that as a problem created by the transition, that may have roots in other areas, all right, but it is our reality. Again, so there was that's true in English, that is true in math. A little quicker here. So our current scores would indicate that our transition between 3rd and 4th grade is not negatively impacting us academically. We don't really know about the social, emotional, the relational pieces. We don't know about those, but we can see that currently that's not a problem because probably we have such strong curriculum and instruction in place already. So looking then at transportation, which is probably the one area that where we see the most potential for impact. You are all, I know, aware of how your bus routes work, you know, bring those kids in, they go to the intermediate school, we have transfer, and then they go out to the elementaries. Well, basically what that means is that process of coming into transfer and then driving back out to the elementaries takes 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. The average student spends 40 minutes on a bus route, including that time for transfer, okay? Right. And so if you take 40 minutes in the morning, 40 minutes in the afternoon, that's 80 minutes. And of the transfer time, 30 of those minutes are being used, right, to go to the intermediate school and then out and have transfer and go out. So if we were to eliminate those 30 minutes by having buses go directly from homes to elementaries, you know, and if they're positioned to the elementary, basically in proximity to their home, okay, their total time would be 50 minutes a day instead of 80, which adds up to a significant number for a child. That's 9 hours a year, less time on the bus on average. So we know that if we were to reconfigure and had 3 K-5 elementary schools, it would save transportation costs. It would save time, certainly, because we'd have a more balanced distribution of students in each of the buildings. So real quickly, if we look back at just basically the summary from what we found in the feasibility study, okay? We've got a little bit of a declining enrollment. We've got some kids in our district that are not attending our schools, right? But rather making other choices. And we have an abundance of staff, and with the opportunity possibly to reduce staff to create the right fit ratio. If we reorganize to K-5 schools, it's an opportunity to decrease the number of transitions, which we currently don't see as a major academic hindrance in any way, but we know that there can be other areas as well that could be improved by that. And if we were to reconfigure, we know that we have to make structural changes at the intermediate school and relocate certainly materials, furniture, those kind of things that we are currently using, but would need in new locations. And we'd have to reassign certified, non-certified administrative staff, and not only might not mean just repositioning them, but it might mean some changes in jobs, or particularly even some cuts that could save you budgetary resources. All right. We know we have adequate staffing. It's just basically providing location and timing of services of the programs. And if we change the transportation routes to go to the 3 K-5 schools, saves some money, but what's it? It saves the time on the bus for kids. Just as much a safety issue as it is. So we know that this is a process looking at all of this, and step 2 was the next the phase that we just finished undertaking this spring, which was to collect information from your stakeholders. So that's what we really want to talk about now. This switches over. We made available a survey in the spring that to collect information from basically anybody who wanted to provide him that information. And your district leadership made the survey available a variety of ways and for an extended period of time, so that it was out there and available, and we take it lots of different ways. When we collect the information, Our first question was to ask, what is your role in relation to school district? Because when you look at responses, that becomes pretty relevant, whether you're a parent or a parent of a student who rides the bus, or whether you're a teacher. So we asked that beginning question, and then we can see that our largest group of answers came from parents. But keep in mind, there can be duplicate or double answers. I could say I am a parent and a teacher, right? The survey allowed me to provide every role that I was in current. So we had lots of responses. Our largest group, 162 parents answered, and then we had 55 teachers, 50 staff members, and 40 community members. If you answered that you were a parent, then you went to I'm not moving. If you answered that you were a parent, then you got another subset of questions that were specific to you about your child. For example, this question was only answered by people who said they were a parent. What grades do you currently have children enrolled? The part I found interesting here was, if you were to implement reconfiguration on the potential timeline you're looking at, the group said it most would impact would be pre-K, kindergarten, and grade 1. We had smaller responses from that group, but we can take that information and weed it, I guess, so that we see how their responses compare to the others if we want to. But our largest group was the 55% who said they had a child in the secondary grades, keeping in mind that if you have a child in the secondary grades, you might have one or more children also in the elementary. So you could answer with more than one response here, depending on how many kids you have. Okay. All right. So which school do your children attend? Wheatfield, 32% roughly. That's 52 responses. The intermediate school is the largest group with 64 responses. And DeMont is the smallest group, right? With only 38 responses, which I found interesting considering they have the largest enrollment of the three, right? So I thought that was interesting. Again, you could answer more than one here because depending on the number of children that you have. But overall, it's a good sample, right? About a fairly balanced sampling. You've got responses from people who have kids in all of your buildings. So another question that we asked only of the parents was, do you use after school care? Because we felt like that might significantly impact their opinion about reconfiguring. And we can see that very strongly, it's only 80, just almost 88%, or 144 of the 244 who completed the whole thing. They don't use that school care. So our after school care group is a pretty small group of responses. And the last question we asked only of parents was how much time your child spends on the bus, which becomes pretty relevant later on when we look at the responses. So varied answers, but again, a big chunk that kids don't ride the bus. We see that every day. All right, so looking at responses on what they value, what they see as concerns, what their satisfaction level is. All right. These are the answers from people who completed the survey. You got on and only answered one question and then stopped. you're not included in this, obviously, right? You had to continue the survey, but. So when it says prioritize or rank your satisfaction, the following components. Going from the left in black, that's people's number one priority, number one ranking. And then the gray is number two, so on. And we can see that by far, when you combine the first and second answers from people, quality learning experience is pretty much it, right? The biggest answer, the biggest priority they have on their level of satisfaction. Which says a lot about your school system, right? It does. We knew that. We know you have that good quality education in place. And the lowest ranking areas of satisfaction. The lowest one, or one and two, answers 1 and 2 would be the length of the school day. So people much less satisfied with how much time it takes for them to travel for their child to go to school. Very well satisfied with the quality of learning experiences they receive here. And second would be the stability of the learning environment. So very positives there. Prioritize or rank the areas for potential improvements. And that was for parents who have or have had, I mean, you don't have to have a child in school currently to have answered this question, right? Our top answers using number 1 and 2 rankings are stability in the learning environment and consistency in the learning environment. Those would be the 2 areas they would hope we would improve. Prioritize or rank what is important to you when you consider changes. We have 2 answers that overwhelmingly stand out here. What's selected as the first and second of their prioritized change areas: academic performance and safety. Those are the most important things to them, right? Which is consistent with an earlier answer. Prioritize or rank the following changes for improving the learning experience according to their importance to you. Pretty much overwhelmingly, interventions and support for learning. Again, the focus is on academics, right? Support for students. Their second answer would be enhancing the curriculum. Falls in the academic area as well. Then we get to the real, I guess, what you'd say the meat of the survey, where we specifically say, just come out and say it. How satisfied are you with your current elementary grade level organization? You know, with being a K3 and a 4-5. And large numbers are satisfied, right? 95 who are very satisfied and 67 who are satisfied. And then it drops off. The numbers of truly dissatisfied are pretty low, only 30. So they show satisfaction with the way things are organized right now. But the next question is, how likely are you to support a reconfiguration if we were to establish 3 K-5 buildings, right? And strong responses in the very likely category with 96. That's about 40% of all your respondents who said they're very likely. And then another 19% say they were somewhat likely. Very unlikely category, 51 or 21%, however you want to look at that. So when it basically comes down to, are you going to support it or not support it? Here's how the responses broke it down. You know, we gave them the opportunity to provide an answer that was not one of our choices. They could just tell us, you know, what do you think the most important factor is for you if we were considering changes? And those list of those answers go on for pages and pages and pages. But if we take them and try to, summarize them, this is basically what we get. We have a lot of mixed responses. Some of them say class size is most important, student safety, maintaining educational quality, which we've seen throughout the survey, right? The importance of support staff, student services, and consistent learning environments. There were some that were concerned about travel time and possible disruption to extracurricular activities, but those were not large numbers of answers. But bottom line, overall, in the summative results, the main priorities are ensuring student well-being, managing class sizes, preserving and improving educational standards while minimizing disruption to students and staff. So they want, again, they want to keep reasonably reasonable class sizes, like they feel they have now, and strong educational standards and quality of education. We're looking at their summative answers. So looking at pieces or components of the survey from different angles. For example, one of the questions was, how long does your child ride the bus? We consider the responses of those people who said their child rides more than 40 minutes. Okay. They were much less likely to say they were satisfied with the current grade level organization than the rest of the respondents were. Because they're most impacted by it, I guess you would say, was likely why. Okay. Among the other respondents, right, not the ones with kids who ride the bus that long, they showed a much greater satisfaction. So when we consider that question, are you satisfied? The group that says no are the parents of the kids who ride the bus the longest. So shows us a clear link between longer bus rides and lower satisfaction. Another insight. Okay. Across all the groups, when we put them all together, they are all similar or in agreement that academic performance and safety are basically the top priorities. If we're going to consider changes, that's what we need to be concerned about. Safety and academic performance. Right. The other areas, like proximity at home, reducing student transitions, extracurricular activities, are ranked lower in importance to those people than the academic performance and actual safety of the students are. And lastly, when we say, do you support a reorganization plan? Okay. We get our administrators, which is a very small, obviously, a very small component. People who took it, we're trying to split, all right? Community members had about 42% that were likely to support, 27 are very unlikely. But parents show the highest very likely support at 40% and somewhat likely at 20%. So that's basically 60% among the parents that they would support the reorganization. Teachers also had a pretty strong, they had, if you take the very likely, they had 32% that were very likely, but then they also had 32% that were very unlikely. So the dichotomous stretch there going on. And we only had one student respond. All right, so I guess that's basically the survey in a nutshell. There's a much longer review of it, but we're looking here at what we feel are the most relevant pieces. Are there questions that you might want to ask?
Do you think there might be a big change once you start putting committees together?
But if they think it's a reality?
Yeah.
That's not been my personal experience. Usually, if there's going to be backlash, an uproar about it, it's early on. But I couldn't say for sure by your community what that would be like, I guess, if that's your question. People who took the time to do the survey, we've got a majority of support from basically pretty much every group, right? It's not that they are dissatisfied with what you have, but they will support the change is basically what it seems to me the survey tells. Questions?
Nothing. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll give you some time to digest this. You've had an opportunity to review it. We'll bring it back. I'll get with our president and determine how you would like to proceed with this in the future then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Right. Well, summer projects are underway. Well, hopefully finishing up, getting ready for the school year. But electric is done at Demont. Roof, the demo is done and they're putting on the metal roof now. At the high school, the West Annex roof is coming along. High school HVAC modules are in place. AC should be on this week, we hope. And then they're finishing the piping and controls are on track. High school, the fax hood should be installed very soon. They're waiting on Department of Homeland Security to approve some drawings for that. The middle school.
Can I ask, what's that connection there? Like,
I did wonder that.
Great question,
Okay.
Jill. Because it's a change and it's a fire hood.
okay,
Department of Homeland Security, from my understanding, has to approve that because it's a change of the building.
Oh, I assumed it was like a tariff deal or coming through. That's what I thought it was about.
No, and the installer realized that later, so
okay,
there has to be a permit for it.
interesting.
Yes,
I just didn't know where that
Yeah.
connection was.
yeah, it's a good question. Intermediate school, the controls are holding while they work on the high school. That's for the HVAC system, the water for the intermediate school, middle school, and here at the corporation. The city water is installed. We're still looking at a separate irrigation system, and the engineers are drawing that up. The drawings that we had of where the piping with the water pipe was for the wells weren't where the drawings said that they were. So, we're working on irrigation because obviously at the softball field and the football fields, soccer field, we do not want to use water for that.
Yeah.
And the same way at the bus garage,
Yeah,
for washing of buses, we'll probably put a shallow well in there as opposed to running piping for that. The high school auditorium seating should be installed around August the 17th. Then the carpet will follow. That room looks much different without any seats or carpet in there. High school, there are 3 classrooms and the attendance office. The flooring is complete. Restroom stalls are complete. The high school parking lot reseal is done. And the west small lots should be done because of the construction, and that will be done later. High school cafeteria, the serving roll-up doors are complete. The terrazzo repair at the middle school outside the gym that had a crack in it and dipping a little bit, that's been complete and that looks very nice. High school carpet outside the gym area, the weight room area is complete, as well as some in the hallways. Wheatfield, the media center desk and paint is in progress, and Wheatfield has 4 kindergarten classrooms. The wrong carpet was delivered, and they are in the process of changing that. So a lot of projects going on, so we appreciate Travis and Margaret and all their work with that, and all of our staff with that. There's a lot going on.
Those dehumidifiers worked well.
Yes,
Good.
yes. We have two going in the main gym, and they have been very good. They're very large industrial ones, and the hose goes into a locker room and drains immediately.
We actually shut them off because the air was getting too dry.
Wow.
So they work.
Good.
So the auxiliary gym didn't have an issue, and the middle school has not had an issue. And the air's back on at the middle school now. So. All right, Chris, some finance items?
Yeah, a couple of things. Our buses that we ordered in January of 2025, we ordered 5 buses. Those all arrived 2 last week and 3 in June. So we just have what we ordered last January in 2026 to get. Let's get this caught up there. Budget. Budget preparations are underway. I know we communicated that we set an ambitious goal for 2 weeks from tonight, doing a work session on the budget. For that to happen, there are a number of things that have to fall into place in the next 10 or 12 days to make that happen. So we're aiming for that, but we're not going to rush the budget because budgets aren't due until November. We're in 10% probably of people of schools who get it done in attempt to get it done in August. But if we need to move back a meeting or two, will not cause problems, then I'm not going to rush things. A time crunch, but we'll see where we're at by the time you're more back. Ready. That's all I have for tonight.
Very good. Just a few reminders. We had a flyer go out with some dates that were mailed out to everybody. So student registration online open today. To tell everybody about that. New student registrations July 29th to 30th. New teacher orientation will be the 6th and 7th of August. And our teacher days are August 10th and 11th. August 10th we'll meet at 8 a.m. at the middle school. Then the first student day is Wednesday, August the 12th.
Is IT staff during the day right now for questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's been some very random questions I've seen on Facebook from people, nothing bad, just who do I talk to about this, whatever. But I didn't want to tell them to call IT if there wasn't going to be somebody there to.
There are people in IT, if they have to leave a message, someone will get back to them. If it's a password issue.
They haven't been that from what I've seen, but.
Okay. Password, you could actually have your password changed online without calling in.
Okay.
But there are people around for that. Also, we had some videos made. I think I shared those with you all. I think they're approximately 4 minutes long or so. I think it's a good first attempt for us.
Absolutely.
They've been provided the principals. They're giving me some feedback as well. The closed caption isn't, if you watch the closed caption, the words are misspelled, and Kankakee Valley might come out as a different word. But there's nothing we could do about that from what I've been told. Any thoughts or comments on the videos?
I thought they were good. Same thing. It's a first smart. So
Yeah, I didn't catch the closed captioning not being right, but I thought the videos were good.
I caught it on a couple names maybe. And then, a comment from administrator that I heard was they didn't mind their voice being on it the whole time. They wish their face would have been less and more pictures of in the building. Like, so overlaying what they were saying instead of just the camera straight on them, just to get more images of what's in the building.
Yes.
So, and I don't disagree with that, but
Mhm.
at the same point, I don't think they were bad either. Just, I think our admin did a great job of being interviewed and so.
They did. The thought is to merge all 5 into one for the corporation after we go with this. So We'll go ahead and proceed with those five. I'll get with the individual that made them for us, who did a fabulous job, and we will proceed. We'll get them on Facebook and our website. Thanks. We'll move that direction. Those are all the items that we have. Anything?
Motion for